So Daedalus Point is going to be the map, another PvT, just like the last game I cast. It's a best of one, and spawning in the bottom right hand position as the yellow Terran player, representing MIA, it's frozz. And his opponent, to the top left, the blue Protoss player. He's playing under the name ChaOs, but on the bracket his name is Kidiso. Kisido. So I'm going to call him ChaOs in game just because that's what his tag is. He's a Korean player, so even though he's only ranked Diamond in EU, and I say only ranked Diamond, that's still fairly respectable nowadays, I do expect him to be playing pretty well. So interested to see exactly what he's going to be throwing down. frozz, he's gone through two players who aren't massively well known to get here. He's only actually been through one. Exilium, who was I believe a Diamond player, and Kisido, he went through someone called Arbiter. So not many games to really go on so far, and also it's worth noting that this is and has all been best of one so far. So a barracks coming down, as well as the refinery from frozz, suggests that he's going to be going for a Reaper opening. Meanwhile, ChaOs, he's gone for a gateway and a double gas, so this is going to be some variation of a gateway expand play. The double gas most likely will have 2 probes in each, unless of course he's going for some form of a proxy. He could go for a proxy Stargate, that would be very effective. On Daedalus Point, there's some really good positions that you can go for proxy, such as up here, where you can quickly get into your opponent's main. But for the time being, it looks like the probe and SCV just going to bump heads, continue on their way. 3 probes in one, 2 probes in the other, the third on its way over. This really does seem like it is going to be some kind of proxy play, or maybe some form of techie, I don't want to say tech cheese, but some kind of very fast tech. Maybe a Dark Shrine, maybe some kind of Blink Stalker, one base all in, something along those lines. But frozz, his SCV making its way forward, going to be able to get quite a good scout down. Should see immediately that there are the 6 probes in gas, and as such will be able to work out that something tech heavy is on its way through. Then he just has to identify what it's going to be, and the probe is coming down an interesting path. I'm really feeling that this could be a proxy Stargate, although the pylon would be very late if that's what was going to be the aim. So I'm interested to see what this is going to do. It could also just be a later pylon, but no tech being shown as of yet. Just a chrono boosted out Stalker is going to really help in order to deal with this Reaper, especially with the Mothership core. That should deny any further vision. But regardless, frozz, if he doesn't see too much here, there we go, Twilight Council is coming down. So this could be GTs, it could be a blink play. The important thing is the Mothership core doing its utmost to zone out that Reaper, preventing it from getting over to the left hand side of ChaOs's main, and therefore seeing what's coming. So with the Twilight Council, this could be blink. It could also be a hidden Dark Shrine, a proxy Dark Shrine, just to avoid scouting. The Reaper making his way across isn't going to be able to find too much because he's not actually checking right down to the bottom left, where of course we do see that information. There is an engineering bay block happening at the natural base. Now this is actually very useful for frozz for 2 reasons. One, if his opponent was attempting to take a natural, well, it gets delayed. But 2, it also lets him know if his opponent has taken a natural. If he's trying to take that down quickly, he can say, okay, well, my opponent's expanding, I don't have to be worried about too much of a one base play. But note the responses we're seeing out of frozz because he's seen those 6 probes in gas. For a start, a missile turret. This serves 2 purposes. Firstly, if there's a proxy Stargate and an Oracle came in, massively helps the defense of the main. Secondly, it grants detection, so if it was GTs, it's going to help. We've also got a couple of additional barracks being added in. They're both getting tech labs, so this is going to allow for Stim and Combat Shield to come out simultaneously. May also see Concussive Shell if there's some suspicion that it could be a blink play. But Marauder production will definitely start because that's going to really help against anything that may get thrown out. The Engineering Bay finally going to die any second. This opens up the option for ChaOs to try and take an expansion, but unlikely to do so. Now, a Reaper did just suicide in, as well as a scan came down, and that is a money scan from frozz. He sees the chrono boost on the Twilight Council, he sees the additional 2 gateways, and that's going to scream to him, this is a blink play. Bunkers are already coming down, and that bunker is actually going to encompass quite a lot of stuff. The other position, which would be quite nice for a bunker, is around here. Daedalus Point, while the natural base does have a lot of cliff area, the main only has a very small area that can actually be attacked. So the important thing for frozz is trying to defend as many places at once. We've got the Dark Shrine also following on from this, so this is a heavy commitment to a one base play coming out from the Protoss player. Meanwhile, if we take a look at what frozz is doing, he's adding in Concussive Shell and Stim. Concussive Shell is going to be massively helpful up against these Stalkers, because it slows them so much that you can easily chase them down and start picking them off pretty damn fast. Another proxy pylon getting as close as possible to the, or at the third base of frozz, ready to start blinking up and in. Behind this, the Dark Shrine is about 2/3 done, not much further than that. SCV's already getting pulled, but Blink is now completed, and with the Mothership Core granting high ground vision, these Stalkers can make it straight into the main. Frozz's positioning though is going to just allow him to pull straight back. Good time warp though. The Tech Lab researching Stim getting focused, but a quick response from frozz means that it gets saved. Concussive Shell is finished as well, preventing these Stalkers from making too much of a quick getaway, but they all are able to escape and blink down to the safety of that third. While some of them have taken a little damage, it's not too disastrous. The two DTs going to be heading up now towards the natural base. There is not enough energy for a scan, so this is going to be very effective now. The Stalkers drawing back most of the army. The DT's heading up into the main where there is the missile turret, so hopefully they're not going to commit too far into that once that it has been seen, but the natural is vulnerable. Quite a few SCVs going to be taken down here. Good damage being done, one DT dies up in the main. The natural base sees the SCVs being pulled. The Blink Stalker play still in effect. 33 SCVs up against 28 probes. The bunker being spam repaired. A couple of SCVs taking a bit more damage. Scan being utilized in order to kill off one of those Dark Templar. And over at ChaOs' side, we see him taking down that natural. This is a very late natural though. He was pretty all in. And while this is a transition, it's an awkward one. And you can transition out of an all-in, but you want to have done a lot of damage, and unfortunately for ChaOs, he hasn't actually done that much. He didn't delay Stim upgrading, he wasn't able to snipe off that Tech Lab. He hasn't killed a huge number of workers, only 4. And frozz is still up in the worker count, not to mention the fact that he's also got mules to utilize should he want to. So, pro production continuing, we've got the Templar archives now being constructed. That's going to open up high Templar tech, and therefore storms if needed. But frozz has got a pretty scary army, and if you've defended a one-base play as effectively as frozz just did, you're going to be very confident moving into the mid-game. The caution for frozz, though, is not to get overconfident. The Mothership Core is sitting... Where is it in that Mothership Core? Okay, coming over, ready to Photon Overcharge at the natural base to aid in the defense. A couple of quick warp-ins, the Stalkers getting a few pot shots off. There's the Photon Overcharge. Now, are these Stalkers going to be enough? It doesn't look like they will. The Mothership Core getting focused pretty damn fast. The natural Nexus is trying to shoot through, but these units can just head straight up into the main where there isn't a Photon Overcharge, and with no Mothership Core, there is definitely no chance of one coming down. In come these Marines and Marauders, they depower one of the gateways. A few more warp-ins will come through. A Dark Templar, really smart choice, but a scan being utilized effectively by the Terran player. He's rushing through these probes. All of the Stalkers have now been killed. The warp-ins getting taken out as they come through. Massive losses for the Protoss player, and as such, this game looking very likely to be frozz's. GG is called, and frozz advances forward into the round of 16.